This is YNW Melly's crazy court case and everything you didn't know about it. Did Melly actually do it? Well, guess what? We're gonna find out. All right, y'all, listen up. In 2019, YNW Melly got busted by the cops in Broward County for supposedly killing two dudes named YNW Juvie and YNW Sack Chaser, also known as Christopher Thomas Jr. and Anthony DeAndre Williams. He said he ain't do it though, and the trial started on June 12, 2023. So on October 28, 2018, YNW Melly and his buddies, YNW Portland, YNW Sack Chaser, and YNW Juvie were chilling in the studio, making some new tunes. They wrapped up around 3:19 a.m. and decided to head home with no other plans. But then, at 4:39 a.m., things got messed up. YNW Portland rushed into Memorial Hospital Miramar, screaming for help. Turns out, YNW Sack Chaser and YNW Juvie got shot in the back while riding in the same car they left the studio in. The nurses tried to save them, but it was too late. Both rappers were dead.
What are we seeing on the screen right now?
So this is the sidewalk portion I was telling you about. Immediately on the bottom left corner of the screen with these white dashes, that's where the cars drive through. Those dashes are for them to see pedestrians just walking across into the yard.
The cops showed up at the hospital and questioned YNW Portland because YNW Melly was nowhere to be found. Portland told him it was a drive-by shooting and his homies got hit. Alright, so about 6 months after Sack Chaser and Juvie got killed, the cops found some new proof pointing at YNW Melly being the one behind the shooting. At first, he was like, nah, I wasn't even in the car when that drive-by went down. But then they tested the DNA and boom, turns out he was in the car after all. So on February 13th, 2019, they grabbed YNW Melly and threw him in jail on some serious double murder charge. And guess what? YNW Portland, his buddy, got snatched too because they said he was helping out in the crime. But they let him out because he didn't have any big criminal record. Melly, on the other hand, got stuck in jail because he had a long history of doing bad stuff. It seemed like a real threat to society. The trial started on June 12, 2023. And here's what's gone down so far. So basically, bro, Melly's trial went down with prosecutor Kristen Bradley leading the charge. She came prepared with tons of stuff like text and video to prove that Melly was the one who shot YNW Sack Chaser and Juvie. Her main argument was that it was all about gang stuff. Bradley said Melly was part of some hardcore gang and killed his buddies because of their gang rules. But Melly's defense team, led by David Howard, argued that throwing up gang signs don't actually mean you're in a gang. They gave an example with Serena Williams, the tennis champ. She used to do the Crip walk on the court, and those Crips are a real dangerous gang. But Serena wasn't in a gang. They had a witness named Felicia Holmes, who was supposed to talk against Melly, but the judge said no because she claimed she was forced to be there, and that messed up the jury's minds. Melly's defense said the prosecutors got evidence all wrong, and the judge agreed kicking out her testimony.
February of 2019.
You never served me. I know you served to a location. I didn't live at anymore.
Do you recall coming to the courthouse in February of 2019?
Objection beyond the scope.
Anything about the courthouse in 2019?
Then, prosecutors showed a text message between Melly and some unnamed person after the shooting. It said, "Yo, homie, you good? Let me know something." Bradley said that meant the sender was checking on Melly after the shooting went viral. Melly replied saying, "I did that." Shh.
Right after this. Yo, homie, you good? Let me know something. And so, ladies and gentlemen, this is where context matters. What does that mean?
But David Howard said that message could mean anything. Taking text out of context to make a case is shady business. He also said the detective in charge, Detective Murray, messed up a lot in the investigation. Howard claimed Murray just wanted fame and a promotion, so he blamed Melly without doing a proper job.
Was a rising star. And from that point on, he decided he's the only person that could have committed this crime. Because if you're involved in prosecuting a star, you become a star. This was his big break.
Eventually, the sheriff's office saw the mistakes and told him to start over from scratch. The trial's getting real messy, bro. But hey, yo, check it out. Subscribe quickly if you're enjoying this video. Now let's get back to what I was saying. So over the course of the trial, man, new evidence has been dropped by the detectives in charge. And we'll start from the shooting itself. Remember YNW, Portland, and Melly said they were involved in a drive-by shooting? And that was when Sack Chaser and Juvie got shot? Well, the detectives said the drive-by shooting occurred after Sack Chaser and Juvie were already dead. There were two reasons why they came up with that conclusion. The first one being when the bullets entered the car. YNW Sack Chaser had actually already fallen as a result of being shot, so the bullets didn't hit where they were supposed to. Secondly, the rounds that entered the car from the drive-by shooting had no blood on them.
So this resting angle in this seat, you have the projectile coming in, exiting through the top of the skull, and then continuing through the windshield.
With this new evidence, it would mean that YNW Melly and Portland either wanted to take Sack Chaser and Juvie down, or there's something else they're not sharing with the investigators. What y'all think, man? Another crucial piece of evidence the detectives found was that Melly and Portland lied about the location of the drive-by shooting. Detectives apparently found that CCTV footage showed that no drive-by shooting happened. Although they passed by the location they claimed it happened at. Melly also claimed that he wasn't in the car when the shooting happened, but his cell phone records proved otherwise. When the calls he made around the time were traced, it turned out that he was in fact at the crime scene. Damn, bro. Isn't that crazy? Now listen, man, y'all might be wondering, would Portland ever snitch on Melly? Well, as the trial went on, some netizens started wondering if Melly was really guilty. And if so, why hasn't Portland snitched on him yet? If Portland snitches on Melly, he can be free from any punishment, as he has already been named as the rapper's co-conspirator in the killings. But as y'all know, snitching ain't always the way to glory if you're from the streets. It can instead be the exact opposite. But there are many reasons why I wouldn't pay YNW Portland to snitch on Melly. If there's anything to snitch on, snitching would not just affect his street cred, which is the least of his worries. It would also affect his career. Many rappers who have been caught snitching either lost their entire career or worse, their lives. Portland will be placing his and his family's lives at the mercy of gangs, even if Melly may not belong to any. This is all so crazy, man. Don't y'all agree? Also, Portland could get in trouble with law enforcement officers because he could have confessed and saved all the time they spent investigating the case. So he intentionally misled law enforcement officers, which is punishable by law. In court, David Howard, Melly's lawyer, claimed that Portland's testimonies had been kind of inconsistent since the start of the investigation. First, he straight up lied about the location of the shooting, which sent detectives on a wild chase leading nowhere, basically. Then, at the hospital, the cops asked him to say what happened, and he said he ducked his head while the shooting went down because he was trying to protect himself. Also said that he didn't touch or shoot any gun on the day of the incident, and forensic experts later found 1% gunpowder residue on his hands. Damn, my man.
0 particles characteristic of heart residue, and 2 two-component particles. And the left hand contained 1 particle characteristic of heart residue and 1 two-component particle.
But although this isn't enough to pin the shooting on him, David Howard still tried to shift the focus on him. The question on some analysis minds was why the driver of the car, YNW Portland, wasn't investigated as much as YNW Melly. In police investigations, the person with the longest criminal record gets more attention. YNW Melly already had a criminal history after shooting at Vero Beach when he was only 15. So in a case like this, Melly was their prime suspect, and they placed all their focus on him.
Those were not Mr. Demon's lies. Those were his lies. Cortland Henry shows up at Memorial Hospital, Miramar. You don't see him sitting there, but where you will see him sitting is in the driver's seat of a car with 2 dead bodies.
Anyway, man, the rapper's lawyer pointed out that on the morning of the incident, Bortlen changed his clothes before taking the victims to the hospital. How did he know that he would need a change of clothes? Like what, bro? Okay, man. So, remember earlier, we mentioned that Melly's ex-mother was supposed to testify against him. But her testimony was rejected because she claimed she was there under duress. Well, Melly's defense team decided to use that to apply for a mistrial. Ever since the trial started, David Howard kept saying that the state's investigation was trash, and I totally agree with that. The detectives said they found bullet casings in the Jeep that YNW Melly, Bortlen, Sack Chaser, and Juvie rode out of the studio in. But they didn't find no gun near the crime scene or with Melly, so there ain't enough proof to call him guilty. Now, let's talk about when Felicia Holmes, Melly's ex-mom, showed up in court. She was kind of forced to be there by the jury, denying all the stuff they said about her. They asked if she did a FaceTime call with Melly on the night of the shooting, and she said nope. They even claimed she threatened to snitch on Melly through Instagram DMs if he didn't settle some money thing. But she denied all that too, and finally admitted she didn't come to court on her own. Melly's lawyer saw this as a chance to ask for a mistrial, saying there ain't enough evidence against his client. But the judge started over and said nah, the trial would keep going, just without Felicia's testimony. So check this out. In a special talk with Long Crime Sidebar podcast, this dude, James Francois, aka 100K Track, is backing up Melly, saying he's innocent, even if he might be a bit biased. He got a call the morning after the shooting telling him what went down, and he was like, yo, let's cancel all of Melly's plans and stuff. But Melly didn't want to stop everything because of what happened. It was still pretty messed up, you know?
Like shows and video shoots and other things. And I personally, man, I wanted to just shut everything down and just, give him some time. But, with that situation, he didn't really want to be at a standstill. His mind was all over the place. So he wanted to keep working just to kind of like keep his mind off it and just keep moving. So it was a very tough day. That was a tough day.
So at the court, the prosecutors showed a video of YNW Melly and Bortlen shooting some video and laughing after the incident. But 100K Track was like, hold up. Melly got paid up front for that shoot, and he couldn't just back out or else he'd have to give the money back. The rapper didn't want to put his life on pause because of what went down. Man. Speaking of rappers doing all crazy things, check out our other video called Times King Von Humiliated Rappers. Until next time, peace, y'all.